Re-wet epoxy high build. Thanks. So yes, absolutely. Get it down to metal. You could do your body work at that point right over metal if you want. So if you have any panel beating to do, taking out dents, doing body filler, using some Bondo, maybe not Bondo brand, but some PPG filler, Evercoat filler. You're using some Bondo, you're shaping, you're getting everything the way you want it, right? You could do epoxy over all of that. Okay. Get the body straight, have it all metal. You could even do sections at a time. Like sometimes a lot of people, they're not going to have the whole car ready at one shot down to metal, unless you did a media blasting and you're just ready to go. You know what I mean? A lot of guys do parts of the car, the hood, maybe the front clip, maybe the side, maybe the hood, roof, and trunk, right? Get it down to metal, and then you just do the body work and that, and then you spray all that one day. You have that sealed. So what I like to do over bare metal is get it down to metal, do the body work, epoxy it, let that sit for about 2 hours, and then lay 2 to 3 heavy coats of 2K filler primer. That would be, you don't have to sand the epoxy. If you're spraying the 2K filler primer that day, anytime within 24 hours, you can spray a 2K filler primer over your epoxy just like that. If you're going to be waiting more than a day, 2-3 days, I would give it a quick sand with maybe like a 320 grit just to put some scratches in it. And then you can refill it. You can fill that all with 2K filler primer. Then you could do your blocking and making sure it's the way you want it. You could paint right on top of that, because that 2K is a perfect foundation to put new paint right on top of that after you block it out. Or if you want to go the extra mile, it's not necessary. You have it all blocked out, ready for paint, and then you spray a sealer on it. Okay, while you're in the booth or while you're ready to, the painting day, you spray your sealer, and then you put your 2 coats of base and clear, or a single stage, whatever you're doing. I'm not sure what kind of paint you're using, but that's pretty much the step. So Rich Reese, did that help? Tips on spraying a single stage metallic gray. And I was going to paint it in sections. So I would just say, guys, if you're spraying with a single stage metallic, hopefully it's a micro metallic, a mini sequence metallic, not a thick, coarse metallic, because it's going to be easier to blend. But if metallics and silvers can be tricky. I would say at least if you're using a good medium grade to high-end spray gun, the atomization should be good, okay? Because that's the main thing. You want a gun that has a even spray pattern. So if you're using, you could use a cheapo gun. I don't care. You could actually get good results if you're using a throwaway gun, a $50 or $100 throwaway gun. This way you don't even have to clean it. You just throw it out. Some people do that. As long as you have a good fan pattern and even spray. Some guns out of the box, if you test them out of the box, some cheaper ones than high end. I haven't really noticed any high end because they test them before they go out. Like Atom spray guns, they test every gun before they go out. So they will literally put paint in it and they'll wash it through. They'll test it on a spray sheet, spray card, make sure the fan pattern's good, because what's going to screw you up when painting metallics is having an uneven fan pattern. So if you're using a gun that you always use, make sure the gun is clean, okay? Because a dirty gun is going to give you an uneven fan pattern. You could get heavier on top, right? How does a fan pattern look, guys? I should have a piece of card that looks like a fan. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say this is a really big fan pattern. I got a thing here, but let's just say this is your fan pattern, right? Okay. So sometimes your fan pattern, you're going to get you're going to notice off the bat on a clean gun, brand new gun, could be brand new cheapo gun, you could notice a heavier spray up here than down here. So once you start getting a heavier spray up here, more paint coming out versus down here, and having a dirty gun will give you the same issue. Okay, having a dirty gun with clogged holes in the tip will give you that issue. Okay, especially these side holes. These are the holes. These are the holes here that literally make your fan pattern. That squishes the fluid to come out like a fan. So that's a huge one. Tiger stripes, uneven fan pattern will give you tiger stripes and screw your metallic paint job up. So as long as you have an even paint laying on your panel or the spray card or whatever, you should be okay. And I wouldn't worry about tiger stripes because that's pretty much the main issue. Unless you're spraying, see, you could get an uneven fan pattern with too much air pressure also, or even too little. Okay, too much air pressure, could force more heavier on top and on the bottom and less in the middle as far as material. So you got to have like a perfect balance of air pressure, distance to panel, and also speed. And I wrote this down the other day. I'm actually going to be making a really good video that talks about this. I'm calling it my RADS system. But anyway, does this help? I don't want to get too crazy with this one question, but as far as the tips, I would say spray it normally and then crisscross your pattern. At the end, spray up and down. So go side to side and then put your final coat up and down. As long as it's looking wet and as long as you have good lighting is why I like the Gun Butt Ultra lighting system. You can see how it's laying on. If you're going to see tiger stripes, you're going to see it while you're painting. You're going to be able to see, looking at the panel with the lighting and also with this lighting that, hey, I'm having some tiger striping here. Maybe let me double check my fan. Maybe you're going to have to stop and clean out your nozzle. I've done that before. I've noticed, oh crap, my holes here are a little caked up. Take 5 minutes, clean out the head. Okay, the whole head assembly only. This is usually okay. And then you test it and it works fine again. So that's the thing. You got to make sure your guns are clean, guys. And then crisscross your pattern. If you're going to be doing it in sections, I would say if you have a good gun, a decent gun, you shouldn't have any problems. So hopefully that helps. To 180, then prime again to paint base clear. I would not. I don't know why you want to block high build primer with 80 grit. 80 grit's crazy, bro. You're gonna take it all off with 80 grit. If you're gonna block, use a 150 if you want to block to find high and low spots. If you're blocking on a panel that's ready for paint, that you're not worried about doing body work, actual repairing dents and finding dents and all that, then you're going to want to be blocking with a 320 and then going down to a 400 before paint. Okay, so 80, I'm not sure if, why you're going that low, that coarse of a grit. Can I spray champagne paint in sections or is it better to go all together? If you're using a brand new paint that's really mixed really well, I wouldn't have an issue with painting in sections because it's the same paint coming from the same can using the same spray gun, right? So I wouldn't worry about it, okay? The only time I would worry about painting in sections is if you're doing anything custom. If you're doing candies, pearls, flakes, then the whole thing should be in one unit, all put together. If it's not put together, at least in sections in the same spray booth or garage, wherever this way you can see what you're doing, and if you have to move a panel to put it close to another panel to see how it's looking, then you could do that. And you could say, shit, I need another coat of metallic on here. The silver flake is a little heavy on this panel. I got to kind of, so I would say you're fine as long as the paint is mixed really well. And yeah, you're all good. Mistakes. No, you can easily color sand and buff single stage. The only time you're going to have an issue with single stage is if you run a metallic paint. So if you run a metallic paint on single stage, you're going to get that metallic run. When you block sand that out, very high possibility, 8 out of 10 times, you're going to see that metallic sag. It's going to be flat. You're going to buff it out. It's going to look great, feel wise. It's going to feel flat. It's going to be shiny and all, but you're going to have that discoloration of that sag. So any solid colors, you don't have to worry about it. It was resprayed at home. It was resprayed at some point in the past. I'd like to remove that and expose the original paint. Any tips, tricks for salvaging original paint? No, it's not going to happen. So it's never going to happen. There's no way you're going to sand through old paint to get to the original paint. There's no way. If you want to bring back the original paint, you can either take it down to metal. You don't have to, or you could just sand it down and repaint it to the original color. What's up, Ketis Bloom, VIP out of Delaware? What kind of same question as Aiden. Wanted to know if there would be okay spraying single stage red AG series from Tamco in sections a few days apart. I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. It should be fine. As long as you got the same mixing ratio, the same paint, you're good. Okay. And when I say make sure your paint is mixed really well, means say you have a brand new can of paint. Okay. You bought it a month ago. It's been sitting. You decided to paint something, you mix it up very lightly. You don't go crazy, right? You mix the paint and you paint it, but then you notice later, I'm busy right now. What's up?
No, I had to get ice cream.
Okay. And then you notice later that you have some cakey film on the bottom of that original paint can. Once you mix that up, the tint is going to change because a lot of the paint basically just caked down at the bottom, the pigments. And now when you mix that up and spray, then you're going to see two different colors. So when I say it's okay to do it, make sure your paint is mixed up really well before you do your mixing and spraying. That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense? Do metallic drop coat? Not really. The tip is to make sure that you can see really well. I would say strap a gun butt on. So while you're painting, you can see exactly how that metallic is looking when you're blending or whatever. Okay. And don't be afraid to lay it on. Don't be afraid to put paint on anything. That's the thing. A lot of guys, they're afraid to run. But I would rather have a run in clear coat, not in candy, not in flakes or metallics or anything like that, than be dry, okay? Because it's easier to fix a run than resanding and shooting because you don't have enough paint on it. DIY garages, is the X88 basically a clone of the Iwata, just pretty close to similar results, half the cost? I just got mine in the mail this week. I have the old Iwatas. I haven't sprayed with the Supernova or any of the new Iwatas I haven't sprayed with those. Okay. I have the old Iwatas 400s. They spray really nice. I still have them in my container. I don't know. I don't think it's a direct clone. I think it's different. The cap does look different. Okay. And I think the inside is different, the way they set up the airflow through it. But it is a great spraying spray gun. I sprayed the van project. I sprayed multiple candy projects with the X88. Guys, if you don't know, this is the Atom X88 Blue Moon edition. There's a Blue Moon and Infinity. They're just different colors, but it's a great gun. I like the Atom spray guns. To me, they're great medium ranged spray guns. So if you don't want to spend $500, $600, $700, $800 for a SATA or one of those guns, then you could spend a few hundred and get one of these, or you can spend $50 or $100 and go to Harbor Freight and get a throwaway gun. Some of them spray good, so it's up to you. Ketis Bloom says, another question. I gotta paint a new raw plastic bumper. It's $45 a can, a normal price for Bulldog plastic prep. If so, Have you used a duplicolor or Rust-Oleum? I know I sound cheap, but I am. Hey, it's all good. 45 a can seems a little crazy. I don't know, man, because of all the shortages and price hikes and all. Things are getting crazy, guys. It could be 45. I think I paid $30 for my can of Bulldog. $28 and change, give or take. And when spraying that, you just need to dust it. You don't have to spray it on wet. Notice when I use it on my videos while, doing plastic parts, you just want to tack it on just lightly. That's all you need. You don't have to wet it on. So that one can will go a long way. It'll last you a while. You'll probably be able to do like 10 bumpers with that. Easy. So yeah, I haven't tried Duplicolor or Rust-Oleum. You might want to test it out. I just had my Mach 1 detailed. They burnt through the thin clear in some areas. I'm considering clearing over the entire thing to preserve what's left of the original paint. What would you advise? Yes, you could do that. You could do that, but it might not come out in the areas that they cut through and buffed. The base coat might be so thin that maybe you don't see it now, but if you put clear coat on it, it might look like a light color in that area. So say you burnt through an area, okay, and it doesn't look like it's discolored from the panel around it, but after you clear coat it, you might notice a little a lighter color here. So you could try it, if it's just a hood or a fender, you could try that first, see how it comes out. If you don't like it, if you're going to go through the process of prepping a car to clear coat, you might as well put new base coat on it anyway. Just spend a couple $100 more, get 3 quarts of base coat, which will give you 1.5 gallons of sprayable material, and just cover the whole car once or twice in new base and then put some clear on it. You might as well give it a new paint job. That's just my outlook on it. You're getting everything ready for clear coat. You might as well just put 2 coats of base on it. It'll take you 40 extra minutes, not even. Hopefully that helps. Andy, what would be the best base coat? The best base coat would be a yellow. Find like a metallic yellow that you like. Corvette, Jeeps have nice yellows. Chevy in general has nice colors. Jeep also has nice colors. So I would kind of look at those two brands, any brand, whatever. I would pick out a nice yellow because it's always easier to candy over the same color. So if you're going to be doing, and this is especially so true for newbies, you're still going to get a beautiful candy paint job. Candy doesn't always have to go over silver metallic. Although if you do paint candy over silver, it really gives you that chromatic candy look. Sometimes people are looking for that the real eye-popping color. But again, you're still going to get a very eye-popping color if you candy over a same color base coat. So if you're a newbie, you want to get into candies, candy over whatever candy you want. So if you're going to be doing a red candy, pick a nice red, do your candy over. If you're going to be candying green candy or a blue candy, then pick a nice blue base coat, candy over that. So for you, I would say pick a nice yellow base coat that you like with a little metallic in it and throw your candy on top of that. I've sprayed with candy lime, which is kind of like a yellowish lime, House of Color over green, came out amazing. I sprayed that over yellow, came out amazing. Those are the 2 colors I use candy lime over, candy lime gold. And then also gold candy also looks yellow. So gold candy over yellow base coat is, oh my God, that might give you a look that you might also like. So just consider those kind of color variations. I don't have everything in candy that I can show you, but actually when I do my Chevelle next year, maybe I'll do a yellow candy. Maybe, I want to keep it original as much as possible. It's a butternut yellow original. When is a sealer needed instead of primer? A sealer is needed if you're going to be doing a custom job. If you're spending $10K or $15K on a paint job, it's going to be an expensive custom job. Then normally those jobs, they put a sealer on it over the 2K filler primer, over the epoxy, over whatever. Okay. And keep in mind, guys, when spraying sealer before a base coat, you have to be using a good gun. Okay, use a good gun like an Atom or an Iwata or whatever, because your sealer has to come out nice and smooth with no orange peel. Because true sealer before painting base coats or whatever is supposed to go on very smooth. Okay, because if you have orange peel on that, you're going to be painting your base coat, because you're not supposed to sand sealer. You're going to be painting your base coat on, it's going to be orange peel, it's going to look horrible. This is why I advise people a 2K filler primer, guys, if you think about it, is a type of sealer. Okay, and there are 2K filler primers on the market that all you have to do is add 10% more reducer, 15% more reducer. Okay, pretty much all primers, if you do this, it thins it out and it just turns into like a sealer. So a primer sealer is the way I like to go, because you can lay on a 2K filler primer on, reduce it a little bit, it becomes like a filler primer sealer, block it flat, it's dry, it's ready to go, you mask it up, clean it, tack it, paint it, right there, done. It's not needed to use that last minute sealer that show cars and, these types of cars have on it. You don't have to do that to get show car results. Okay, it's not needed. But if you want to do it, spend the extra couple $100, spend the extra few, hour, give or take, to seal it and do it. It's an extra step, but you don't have to do it. Orange peel is my greatest fear. So to avoid orange peel, in most cases, all you have to do is put more paint on. That's the thing. You just got to put more paint on it. Panda, Aloha, Tony, when using low volume, low pressure spray guns, do you use the same PSI setting on the base coat and clear coat? Pretty much yes. I like to go a little bit higher pressure when spraying clear coat. 28 to 29 pounds. Never 30. 28, 29 pretty much is my go-to settings for laying on clear coat. 26, 27, 28 with base coat. 28, 29 with clear coat. Hopefully, the around area is high up from the paint and body. So a hammer, you need a body hammer, right? So go get some body hammers. When you're pulling out any type of dents, guys, like if you're using a dent puller or whatever, you pull out, you always want to tap around the dent, because every time you get a dent, you're going to get a high area popping out around it, right? So when you pull out the dent, you're going to want to hit the high areas down. Sometimes you're going to be hitting it down further than flat body, but that's okay because you're doing body work, right? If you could get to the back with a dolly, a metal plate to tap it, you could do that. Sometimes on large damages, the dents are really big and you need to shrink the metal. So you're going to have to heat it up with a torch, use a shrinking hammer with a dolly in the back. It looks like a meat hammer. It's all like that. So when you hit the metal, it basically tightens the metal up and gets rid of that stretched metal. And then you do your body work on top of that. We show you all of this in Learn Autobody VIP, guys.